I just want to give you a use case. Let's say I have a 30 website, okay, and out of which 10 websites are hosted in Europe, 10 websites are hosted in USA, and 10 websites are hosted in Asia. And I have certain requirement that the 10 websites which are hosted in Europe, I want to monitor them only from Europe-based locations, okay? And same for US, I want to monitor the US-based location only from Europe, only from US, and same for Asia. So that is one of my requirement. So if we go with normal method of creating a website monitor and try configuring it, we will end up creating multiple threshold profile, location profile, because when you add a monitor, it will ask for some mandatory fields like location profile, notification profile. And for each monitor I need to create, like, let's say 30 profiles for each of them, right? So that will be a really tedious job, and I won't say that's a good way to handle, because there will be a lot of profiles created in your account, and again, it will be a pain to handle those profiles. So that's the reason we have profile configuration. So using profile configuration setup, what it can help us, first of all, it can help us to have uniformity while creating. Like, we can have certain standard profile template. So for example, if I'm having any monitor that's being added from Europe, I can just use this particular already created profile templates and just associate them, right? And also it's create a lot of time. It saves a lot of time. You don't have to put a lot of time in order to create this repetitive job. And yeah, and also threshold profile are going to be different for all monitor types. So already you will have certain standard threshold profile based on your requirement, and you can use those threshold profile across all the monitors that you're going to create. Okay, so let's get started with creating this threshold profile and getting and to understand more. So first we have a location profile. Okay, so this is my site info 7 account, and I'm going into home tab. All right, so this is my monitors. Okay, now in order to create location profile, I'm going to admin. After admin, I can see here configuration profiles, and to create a new location profile, I can click on this plus button or else add location. So I'm going to click on this add location profile. So as I was sharing you an example that I want to add 10 websites that are hosted in Europe. So I'm going to create a profile for Europe. Let's say Europe location. Okay, and the primary location I would like to be choose is Amsterdam. And so one thing is that only one primary location can be chose, and you can choose multiple secondary locations. So I'm choosing some multiple. Okay, this location. All right, so primary location is Amsterdam and secondary locations are Barcelona, Budapest, and all these are secondary locations. Okay, and okay, this goes to display name that for your reference, primary location is done. And what is this option? Restrict monitoring within selected location. Not recommended, right? Not recommended. Okay, so let me explain what is that. Let's say an example, Amsterdam, right? So we have chose Amsterdam as a primary location. Certain scenarios, and these are very rare scenario, what happened, the Amsterdam server, we have our location server in Amsterdam that gets too much overloaded, or maybe it's not able to process any further request. In that scenarios, what we'll do is we will actually route this particular request to another nearby location server that is available, and we will be doing the polling from that particular location in order to have persistent monitor. Okay, so these are the scenario that may happen sometimes. And so in that point of time, the monitor will be actually happen from other location. But if your requirement is that no, I want to stick to the chosen location that I have configured, I don't want to get pulled from any other location, even though that particular location server is not able to process my request. So in that case, you can configure this restrict within selected monitoring location to yes. So even if the Amsterdam location is not able to process the request, maybe it's overloaded, at that moment, we will not try to poll from any other location. We'll be always stick to the configured location. But yeah, one thing is there, you may miss like one or two polling from Amsterdam because it's not able to process. All right. So, and we have something called as on-premise poller. In case if you have your website or any resource that hosted in your internal environment, maybe behind firewall, and you cannot use the outer servers to talk with that particular resource. So in that case, you can install on-premise poller. What is an on-premise poller? Yeah, it is a small piece of software that can act as a location server. So when you install this piece of software inside your network in any machine, you will be seeing those on-premise poller here. Okay, so you can just choose this on-premise poller from here, just check mark, and that will be used as a poller. All right. So I don't want any on-premise poller, so I'm not choosing it. So I'm gonna hit save here. So you should be seeing a Europe location is configured. So similarly, you can create a location profile for US and for Asia as per requirement. So this is one of the example that I wanted to share. And the next we have is threshold and availability, right? So we all know that mostly when a monitor is getting down, we receive alerts, right? But is it possible to get alerted when a certain metric is violating the threshold? For example, uh, like let's say about a website monitor, right? I want to get alerted when the response time of that particular server is more. Okay, so can I get alerted? Yes, you can get alerted. So in order to create threshold profile, you have to click again on add threshold profile, and okay, okay. So monitor type. So I'm going to create for website monitor. Okay, so display name for Europe website monitors. Okay, so this I'm actually trying to create templates so that I can have better administrative uh, and everything should be set up properly. And next we have is downtime rule. So what is downtime rule? Okay, so let's say my website are hosted in some place where my ISPs are not that good, and maybe I got too much of network fluctuation, and because of that, there are chances that when site info 7 is trying to poll your website, there are chances that for one or two polls maybe your website is down, but those are actually false alert. Your website is actually working fine, but the issue is with the ISPs or with the network fluctuations. So in that case, what I can do in order to avoid this false alert, I can configure downtime rules. Okay, so let's say I have configured 3 locations. Okay, so in this case, what will happen? Whenever we discover that your website is down from one location, we will do a recheck to confirm if that particular down is right or not. All right, so we will initiate a polling from other secondary location that we have configured, and we will recheck if you're getting the down response from those location as well. And if you're getting the down from all those location as well, that is minimum 3 location, then only your monitor will be marked as down or else not. So this can help you to avoid false alerts. Okay, and next we have is threshold configuration. Notify when the website content is modified. So if you want to get alerted when your website HTML content is changed, you can get alerted based on that. And here you can mention like how much percent there should be a modification in the content in order to get alert. So you can configure alert like trouble or critical. All right. And the next we have is response time by primary location. So as I said, like I want to get alerted when the response time is breaching to certain threshold. For example, I have configured here 1000 millisecond. Poll count, poll value is 5. So that means if my response time of the website is more than 1000 millisecond, I will get a notification as trouble. And one thing I have to highlight here is, so you have to understand this particular condition very carefully. So here it says condition is greater than 1000 millisecond, poll strategy, poll value is 5. Okay, so you have to understand this condition will apply for the 5 continuous poll. Okay, for example, like if I am getting the response time as 1500 millisecond for continuous 5 polls. Okay, for continuous 5 poll, then only the alert will be triggered. Okay, let's say if for one poll, the response time is 800, I'm sorry, you won't get alert because that's not satisfying the particular condition that we have set up. So you have to make sure that uh, certain times, customer comes to us and say that, the response time was breaching, like it was more than 1,000 millisecond, but we didn't get any alert. And while cross checking, we see that the configuration here they have configured is poll value 5. So this should this condition should apply for all the continuous 5 polls. Okay, so you can keep a note of that. And in order to save, you can just create save, and the threshold profile will be created. Similarly, you can create threshold profile for various uh, monitor type. For example, let's say about server. Okay, looks like we got a lot of monitors here. Okay, let's say server monitor. Okay, so yeah, if you want to get alerted based on any process that's running in your machine, that is very critical. You can get alerted based on that. So you can choose notify uh, when process is down as yes, and you will get alerted, okay, when any process is down. But yeah, you have to configure the process alerting as well, that we are not discuss in the upcoming session. Okay, maybe session third or two. Okay, session three, I guess. Yeah. And okay, so here we got. So if you want to get alerted, when the CPU utilization is more, right? Let's say if I want to get alerted when the CPU utilization is more than 80%, and port value is 5, I want to get alerted. So you can get alerted based on that. And there are multiple metrics, see here. So you can get alerted based on any of those metrics. So it's all depend on your requirement here. So we have actually got a bunch of configuration and metrics here, so you can have any of it. And again, memory. And also you can actually configure two setup two threshold. For example, you can set up as 75% for trouble, and with the CPU utilization exceeds 85%, I want to get critical, right? Because if the CPU utilization goes to like 100%, of course your machine would hang. So yeah, so you got to have 85%. Okay. And also, I think I missed to inform you, if you have any questions, any when while discussing on various feature, you can always put your question in the question tab. So I think you'd be seeing something on the left corner. So you can put your question over that, and we'll be actually answering it after uh, we are done with the session. Okay. So this is all about a threshold profile. Okay, let's. So I'm not going to save it, but if you want to save it, you can. Okay, let's save it. Server threshold. So you can, likewise, you can create multiple threshold profile. So based on your requirement, so that will help you when you're trying to add a lot of monitors, right? So, okay, I'm done with threshold profile. And similarly, you can create threshold profile for various monitor types. So I think you would have understood by now. So yeah, I think we can go to the next topic we have is notification profile. So yeah, Site24x7 give you the ability, in order to have customized way and have control on what type of alert and how I should get the alerts. Okay, so let's see like what do we have in the threshold profile. Sorry, the notification profile. My bad. So okay, so like as same, like we have to give a display name. For example, I want to create a threshold profile for Europe region. Okay, and what is send root cause analysis report by email when monitor is down? So what does it say? For example, when a website monitor is down, what Site24x7 does is it do a ping analysis, it does a DNS analysis, it generate a trace route, it actually uh, take the MTR report. So these are the analysis we do as soon as we detect that any website monitor is down. So if you want to get those kind of analysis by email, you can enable this as yes. If you do not want those kind of analysis, you can configure as no. But I would recommend to have this RC enabled, because it can help to dig and to see more insight on what's going on. Okay, and we have something called as downtime delay notification. Let's say I have like non-prod environment, and that's not more important for me, so I don't want to get immediate notification. If it's get like fail in like continuously 5 times, then only I want to get alerted, because it's not much important and I don't want to get more attention to that. So in those scenarios, you can configure downtime delay as notify after 5 continuous failure. And on the other hand, let's say you got uh, like a prod server, so I would suggest something to notify immediate after failure, because you don't want to miss those kind of alerts. So yeah. And the next thing we have persistent notification till alarm is acknowledged. Okay. So so why we have this option? So I would like to inform you that uh, in Site 24x7, the alert is only triggered when a monitor status is changed. For example, the monitor moved to trouble state, you will get a notification if you have configured, of course. And if your monitor has moved to up to down state, you will get alert. And even when the monitor moved to down to up alert or up status, you will get an alert. Okay. But in case if you say that one monitor went down today at 12 o'clock and it's been continuously down till tomorrow, all right, so in that case only one alert will be sent, okay, not many alerts, because there is only once the monitor status was changed, so there will be only one alert triggered. But in case if your requirement is something is very critical and you do not want to miss that alert, so you can always configure persistent notification till alarm is acknowledged. So you can configure as notify on every failure, on every second error, or notify on third error, and so on. So with every third failure, you will get persistent notification. Okay, for every third pull error, you will be getting notification. So for some critical resource, you can have this persistent notification till alarm is acknowledged option enabled. And what is email template? I think we will discuss it as a separate topic in the next this next topic itself. And we have something called as escalation settings. Okay, let's say you have a manager, and maybe escalation team, and if any resource that you are monitoring in Site 24x7 want to get escalated, if it's being down for a certain period of time, so you can enable this escalation setting. So you need to actually add this particular escalation group in Site 24x7, then it will show you here. So let's say escalation group, you can create something called as escalation group, and you can just add it here. And let's say if the monitor or the resource is down for 60 minutes, that particular escalation email should get a notification that this particular resource is down for 60 minutes, and they can take certain action on that. Okay, so this is all about escalation setting and notification profiles. I hope it was clear to everyone. Let's move to another thing we have is email template. Okay, what is email template? So generally, when whenever a monitor is going down, you used to get alert. I think many of you are using Site for X7, so you know how an alert email looks like. And in case if you want to get some more details, basically in the alert email you'll be getting some monitor name and some details, but you want to customize and add some other uh, like information in that particular alert email. So what you can do is you can create an email template for that. For example, here, my it shows monitor's name is status. Okay, so you can always add the information like downtime. So it will also show like how long the monitor is being down. So this kind of detail you can include downtime, and also you can include the down reason is. All right, so I think you got my point. So, these are the things you can do with the email template. Okay, so I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to cancel this. All right. So yeah, that was all about configuration profile. So we created, location profile, threshold profile, notification profile, and email template. Okay. Okay. So I think we have discussed all this topic. We have one left is IT automation that will be covering in the upcoming slides. Let's move. Okay, location profile is done. Threshold. Okay. Okay. So users and alert management, right? So till now we have discussed, you can get alerted using when the monitor is down. You can get alerted when there's a certain threshold being violated. Like how to create users and alert. Let's discuss like how can we create a user and how can I map, to a certain monitor so that I can get alerted. So let's discuss on that. Okay, so create a user in Site 7. What you need to do is you need to go to admin tab that's down here. It's very important, tab, because you have to come here, many times. So to create a user here, I need to click on add user, or else this plus button. I'm creating here add user. So let's say I have a guy, Alex, okay, who works in Zoho, and he is taking care of all those AWS resources. Okay, so he's being responsible for any others that is related with AWS. So let's say he's an IT engineer. Let's say give a good designation. Let's say DevOps. Okay. Okay. So Alex, I have to put the email here. You'd say Alex here, and operator. So I want him to be an admin. So you can give many roles: super admin, admin, operator, read only. Let's say I want to give him an admin role, and read only if you want someone to have only like access to site infra 7, but read only access. In that case, you can give read only. Super admin and admin will have pretty most of the access. Okay, so let's, in this case, I will give him an admin role. And user alert group, no, I don't want to give it now. And here notify medium, you can configure like in what ways the user should be getting alert. If the user, if you want to get uh, like alerted through SMS, you can click on SMS, voicemail, and critical, and all of that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so if you want to get a down alert, you need to check mark for down. If you want to get critical alert, you can check mark on uh, this check mark critical. And if you want to get, if you do not want to get up alert for anything, you can just disable this. So in order to, so this way you can customize even more, like what type of alert I want to get, emails or SMS or voice call. So you can configure that. And what is alerting period? Let's say your shift time is from morning 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you want to get only notified during that time. After that time, you don't want to get any notification. So you can, alerting, you can set a alerting period like morning 9 to 6, right? So like that, you can configure that. And all right. And yeah, I think, yeah, the slides will be shared to everyone. I think we got a question. So at the end of the session, we'll be also sharing the slides to everyone so that you can, again, come to that slide and get more details. So yeah, that will be given. So don't worry about that. And yeah, if you want to configure, like, you're working on only on Monday to Friday and you don't want to get notification on weekends, right? It's the party time. So yeah, so you can actually avoid those. So you can just click on Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, there will be no alert will be triggered to you. So if you want those kind of configuration, you can always do that. And I'm getting save. So our username is Alex. His email is alex@zoho. And also, if you want to give a phone number, you can always give a phone number in, or if he wants to get alert using SMS or voice call. All right. So next is we have is users alert group. Okay. So as I said, right, Alex is being taking care of AWS team, right? So I will do one thing. I will create an AWS alert group, and I will add Alex in that. Okay. Is done. Done. Okay. And what is associate attribute alert group, that we'll discover now. So far what I have done is I have created Alex as a user. I have added Alex in a user alert group. That name is AWS group. And next we have is attribute alert group. Okay. So let's say what is attribute alert group. Let's say you have server manager, and let's say it's Alex. Alex is taking care of AWS team and he want to stick with only certain metrics, and he don't want to get alerted for other metrics. Let's say uh, AWS team again, and let's say Alex is responsible for this monitor. Okay, I think that's enough. And Alex want to only receive alert based on cache hit out, cache miscount. Okay, and he don't want to get alert for other metrics. So in that case, you can configure attribute alert groups. Another example that I could give you is, let's say there's a team who handles server monitor, and there are 5 guys who is responsible for disk management, and their job is only to make sure that a sufficient disk is available in all those server. So they want to get alerted based on disk. When the disk utilization is more, they should get alerted. So you can configure based on that. So this attribute help you to curtail or narrow down the kind of alerts that I'm getting. So you can configure attribute alert groups based on that. Okay. So okay, and after creating it, you have to go to, let's say, AWS team, and I'm adding AWS, right? Yes. So this is my attribute alert group. I also have associated it to this particular user alert group. Okay, that's done. And now, how can I add this particular user? I have created the user. I have added the user to a user alert group, that is AWS team. Now, how I can like map this particular user to the monitor? Okay, so for that, I have to go to admin. No, not admin this time. I have to go to home, and let's say uh, AWS, right? We were discussing about AWS, so let's go to AWS. Okay, so let's say I want to associate Alex to all EC2 monitors. Okay, so what I would do is I would just go and edit this monitor, and here you would be seeing users alert group. Okay, and I'm trying to search where is AWS team. Okay, so Alex is here. Okay, you can see here. So now all the alerts respective with this particular monitor will be sent to this AWS team. And as we know that we have added Alex in this particular user alert group, so he'll be getting all notification. Okay, so this is how we map a user to a monitor. But you will see one thing that we have here. If you go to EC2, we have 5 monitors here. Okay, and if I want to map this particular user like Alex to all these 5 monitor, I have to go to each account, each monitor, and do the same thing, right? And that's a tedious job. It's, if you have, think about it, if you have 10 monitors or 15 or 60 monitors, it's gonna be really a tedious job, to associate each user to a monitor. So what can we do here? So any guess from the audience, like what would be the best method that we can do here? Any suggestion? So my question here is, how we can associate users alert group to multiple monitors. So yeah, that's my question. I think you are thinking correct. All right, so we can use uh, a feature that is bulk action. Okay, we can use bulk action, and we can associate this users alert group AWS team to all the 5 EC2 monitors. So how will we do that? So for that, we have to come again to admin. Okay, so admin, bulk action, where is users alert group? Yeah, modify users alert group. I'm going to click on that, and waiting for the filters. Monitor type is EC2. Okay, EC2 monitors filter. So what we are doing here is I'm going to associate the user alert group AWS that we have created, okay, to all those 5 EC2 monitors. So instead of associating it to one by one, I'm just trying to do a bulk action, and I'm trying to add it to all those EC2 monitors. Okay, so let's say it's taking a little time. Yeah, okay. So again, you will be getting a list like, okay, it will list all the EC2 monitors. So you can confirm here, okay, these are EC2 monitors, and I'm going to associate it to the AWS team. Okay. So, you know, with this one sling of action, I don't have to do this manual work again and again, and I can give save. So all these monitors will be associated to this AWS team. Okay, I'm not going to make any changes now, but if you click on save, it will reflect. Okay, so likewise, you can use this bulk action to like multiple things. Like for example, if you want to modify the check frequency for multiple monitors, you can always do that. Same filters you can apply, like what's the monitor type, or based on monitor name. So there are a lot of things that you can use bulk action, like modify threshold profile, location profile, and a lot more. Okay, so okay, bulk action is done. And next scenario is that, let me give you a scenario where, let's say you have a requirement of having thousands of monitor to configure inside 24x7, right? So that's going to be a really tough job. Adding thousands of monitor one by one is definitely going to take a lot of time. So what you can do is you can use our import monitor option. Okay, you can just go to admin inventory. Under that, you'll be seeing some option like import monitor. So what you can do is you can create a CSV file, okay, with this particular sample here we have given. So here you can see, right, in the headers, display name, type, website, check frequency, and these information you have to give in this particular format. And in the CSV file, you can actually configure like what is the monitor type for the 1,000 monitor that you are trying to add inside InfraX7. And after creating the file with this format, you need to come here and give browse file, and you can choose this file and just open and upload and give a submit button here, and automatically those 1,000 monitors will be added in your Site for X7 account. Okay, so that is one of the cool feature we have in Site for X7 that saves a lot of time as well. Okay, so so we have discussed users and alert management. We have tried to create a user named Alex. We created and associated it to AWS team, right? And we discuss about import and export monitors. Bulk action, we used bulk action to add users alert group to multiple EC2 instances, right? So that is also done. And what is new configuration profile? So this particular feature is new, has been, I think, released in a couple of months. So let's say how you can use configuration rule. Let me give you a use case. Let's say I am actually, my use case is I have a server monitor, okay, and I am actually monitoring some process, process, and whenever I add a server monitor inside to InfraX7, I want to automatically add some of the process to monitor inside InfraX7 as well. So how can I achieve that? So I will repeat my question again. So my requirement is I have a server monitor, and the OS flavor of that particular server is Linux. And what my requirement is, when I add a server monitor, I want some process to be automatically added to monitor inside InfraX7 for those process as well. So how can we do that? So let's do this. Okay. So what I would do is I will go to admin. I will go to server monitor. Okay. Sorry. I'll go to server monitor here. I'll so this is my one of the monitor. Okay. So I'm going to do a configuration rule. I'll go to admin configuration rules. I'm sorry, I'm a little lost here. Yeah, I got it. So configuration rules. Okay. I'm going to create a new rule. And let's say I'm rule for process monitor Linux. Okay. So monitor type is server. Okay. And the OS type, operating system, should be Linux. Okay, so this is my criteria. If all of these two particular conditions are true, then what should happen? Then add process. Okay, let's say I have a process named MySQL. MySQL. Okay, this is a process name. So whenever these two are true, these two conditions are true, this action will execute, right? So this can help you to define a workflow in your environment. So you don't have to manually add process or uh, configure threshold profile. So whenever a new monitor or even for existing monitor, if you run this thing, this will be applicable for these two conditions are met. Okay, and also you can configure it for the upcoming monitor. So if any server monitor I'm going to add newly, and uh, if that monitor is meeting these two condition, then this particular MySQL process will be added to that particular server monitor. So you can just save and run rule. So likewise, you can do multiple things using configuration profile. You can add threshold, notification, monitor group. So a lot of things you can actually perform. Okay, so that's all about configuration profile. So I guess it was clear to everyone. Okay, so next we have is IT automation. So how can you use IT automation? Okay, uh, so IT automation is a feature. Using that you can do a lot of things. For example, uh, you want to let's say an example. Okay, let's say you have a server monitor on which you are monitoring disk, right? So what your requirement is, in every 1 hour, in your server, the disk get fully loaded. Okay, let's say there is no space after 1 hour. So what you need to do is you have to always manually log into that particular server and clear some disk space. Okay, maybe the log files. So this kind of things you can easily automate using IT automation. So what you can do is you can configure an IT automation that should trigger whenever the disk memory is more. Okay, like how can we do that? Let's say this is my server monitor. Okay, and here I have disk, right? I can configure I can configure a disk alert here. I need to just click on edit here, and let's say when the free space is more than 500 MB, okay, I want to get alerted. Okay, and I'm setting this as yes. Okay, and in the same way here you can see, right, I can configure an IT automation. So I need to actually configure an IT automation template that I will show you. I am choosing an IT automation here and save it. So whenever the disk free space is greater than 500 MB, okay, let's say the alert will be triggered, and that will trigger an IT automation. And where do we define the IT automation? We need to come here in admin, IT automation. Here you see here, right? Schedule IT automation and I add IT automation template. So you can choose here server, right? Server script. So I'm going to execute a script that says delete clear disk file Linux. So you can create your own script, right? That could actually run that particular file and can clear those things. So using that, you can do a lot of things using IT automation. Like you can reset or reboot your system when CPU goes high, or there are a lot of things that you can do using IT automation. So this is one of the use case that I wanted to give you. And also here you have to associate like which particular monitor that you want to uh, run this automation. Let's say this is one of the server monitor I want to run in that, and say save. Okay, so you need to give you a path here. For example, here I have actually this is my automation it create file.sh. So whenever the disk utilization is more than 50 MB, it will run this particular file, and that will actually uh, clear some of the disk from that particular disks. Okay, so that is how you can use IT automation in order to automate some of your daily tasks that you are doing it manually. Okay, so using that you can save a lot of time here. So that was all about IT automation. And next we have is operation. So in operation, what do we have? For example, uh, what is there like in every Sunday, right? For 1 hour, let's say there is a scheduled maintenance in your servers or your in your environment, and in that moment you know that your server is going to down, so of course there will be some alerts triggered. But you, as you know that, so you don't want to get alert during that specified time, right? So what you can do is you can configure a scheduled maintenance for every Sunday 1 hour. Okay, so how do we do that? We go to admin, operations, schedule maintenance. So I'm going to add a schedule maintenance. So as I said, it's a weekly schedule maintenance. So weekly for Europe infrastructure. Okay, Europe infrastructure. And all right, so it's Sunday, right? Maybe let's say okay for 4:14 to 5:14. Okay, so for 1 hour there will be a schedule maintenance, right? We know these things, and you can choose what are the monitors that you want to actually have this scheduled maintenance run. So even you can select all of them, or you can select only few. So I'm going to choose some couple of monitors. So for this monitor, there will be scheduled maintenance on every Sunday from evening 4:14 to 5:14. Okay, and what is this option enable during maintenance to improve overall uptime? Okay, so let's say in some days, basically you have a maintenance for every 1 hour on Sunday, but let's say there are certain scenarios where there are no scheduled maintenance. So of course your servers will be up during that time. So if you enable this option, okay, so the scheduled maintenance will only taken place if we receive a down alert during that specified time. For example, from 4:14 to 5:14, if there is no down alert, then your monitor will be up. We will not put your monitor for scheduled maintenance. Only we will put your monitors to scheduled maintenance whenever uh, between the time 4:14 to 5:14 we encounter any down alert for those monitors. Okay, so that's this option. So you can save it. All right, saving. All right, so yeah, we successfully created schedule maintenance for weekly Sunday evening 4 to 5 p.m. Okay, and next we have is log report. Log report can help you to view all the poll data for all the monitors. So if you click on log report here, so you'll be able to see each and poll data. Let's say if you have any server monitor, you can see uh, you know the last poll data is here. And let's say uh, if you want to check the log report for any monitor, you can just click on here and you will be able to view the data. Okay, let's say see here 4:15, right? So the data collection is happening for the monitor YTN transactions. So yeah, okay. And what is audit logs? So whenever you perform action in Cytune for X7, that will be captured. Okay, that can be helpful, when sometimes what happened, a user deleted some critical things from Cytune for X7, maybe certain changes in Cytune for X7, and you want to find out like who has actually performed that particular action, right? So using for that you can use audit logs. So whatever, for example, let's say here I created schedule maintenance, right, weekly for Europe infrastructure. So created is the action, like, so someone has created a maintenance and the maintenance name is weekly for Europe infrastructure, and it was performed by Akash Lakra, that is me, right? So you can use this audit logs in order to uh, have a visual of what kind of things are going on in your account and what are the changes made. So you can always come here and track like which user has actually performed or made that particular change. Okay, and we have something called as alert logs. So what is alert logs? Let's say uh, like you are getting alerts. Let's say you didn't get any alert. Okay, you have configured alert group and everything, but let's say if someone is saying that the monitor was down but I didn't get any alert. So for that, To troubleshoot that, what you can do always here is you can always go to alert logs. Little slow here, I'm sorry. So you would be seeing all the alerts being triggered from your Siteinteract 7 account. So you can always check here, if the alert was triggered or not. So you can confirm, whether the alert was triggered or not, and you can show this data to someone if they are claiming that they didn't receive alerts. So you can always have a track of, the alerts being triggered from Siteinteract 7. Okay. So in operation, again, to summarize, what we saw is we saw how to schedule maintenance. We saw how to check the log report that has uh, the polling information for across all monitors in your account, and we see audit logs. That is, how can you actually check like what are the actions we perform in Siteinteract 7 that's being audited, and alert logs, like what are the alerts that been triggered from your account for several monitors. Okay, so let's move to next topic. Yeah, report settings. So another feature we have is report setting. So in order to do some customization, like in report you want to perform and you want to have your company logo, those kind of things can be done using report settings. So let's do that. So in order to do that, you have to come to admin tab. Okay, and you will see something called as report settings. Under report setting, you're seeing like schedule reports, customized report, SLA setting, business hour. In order to schedule a report, let's say you have a weekly meeting with your client and you want to give a report every week, right? So if you're pulling report every week manually, that would gonna be a very tiresome job. Okay, so what you can do is you can schedule a report here. You can just click on this plus button to schedule a report. Let's say I'm gonna create a report for a client, that is Zoho, and the report type is availability summary report, and I'm going to choose few monitors for which I want to generate a report, and business hour. So as previously I said, right, if you want to get report only between like 9 to 6, you can have your business hour created, or you can skip this. And the criteria of the report should be like more than 80%. And you can also give the report format here, that you want to get report on a PDF or CSV file. And here you can configure the frequency. For example, you want to get alerted or the report should be sent to you on weekly basis or daily basis. Here my requirement is weekly, and report time should be on every Monday at 4 p.m. That's fine. And you want to choose your user-led group. For example, you will be actually marked or associated to a certain users alert group. So you will be choosing that particular user alert group under which you are available, so that you will be getting notification, right? Done. And you can do a send now button in order to test that. So instantly one report will be sent to your email, so that you can verify that, okay, this report is working fine. After testing, you can just click on save, so that this scheduled report will be saved. Okay, so now every Monday you'll be getting a report at 4 o'clock evening that will have an availability summary of some monitors that we have selected. Okay, so that's what about schedule report. And next we have is customized report. In customized report, what are the things that we can customize? We can customize things like you can give your own logo. And usually if you have uh, seen, whenever a report's being sent to you from Siteinteract 7, you're seeing something called as no reply at Siteinteract 7. But if you want that, I want to give my own email address, I don't want to, I want to change from email address from where I'm getting the reports. Is that possible? Yes, that's possible using custom reports. So I'm sorry, something wrong. Okay, let me see here. Seeing, I think some issue is going on. Just give me one moment. Let me see what's going on. Just give me 1 minute, guys. back again. So yes, so we are saying about custom report. Let's say what things you can customize in your report. So say like you want to change the logo of your company, definitely you can do that. So let's say I want to have my own company logo. So let me see some image. Okay, so you can choose, the logo of the report, your company logo. In this case, I have Zylker, that's the logo of my company, and the company name is site24x7, and the from email address is akash@site24x7.com. So you can configure these things in your report and uh, treat monitor as during maintenance period. Okay, so in case if you have a scheduled maintenance, so that scheduled maintenance, by default it will not be taken as the availability, but in case if you want that, you know that scheduled maintenance to be considered as uptime, so that your availability will be 100%. In order to do that, you can configure this yes. So whatever report is generated, if we have any scheduled maintenance time, we will be taken this as uptime, and will show as 100% availability. And here you can define like the precision value. For example, like you need like in 4 digit or 2 digit or 3 digit. So that's again up to your requirement, and then you can save it, right? And the next we have is, so it's getting saved. All right, so next we have is SLA setting. So let's say you have to configure an SLA report, so you can get SLA based on the response time or the availability. So or if you want to have the combination of both, you can do a composite SLA. So in this, I'm just trying to create an availability SLA. Let's say SLA for Zoho monitors. Okay, success. So I want, if the SLA goal is 99%, so if this particular monitor uh, availability is less than 100%, I will get a report like SLA is failed. If it's more than 80%, then I will have this SLA is met. Okay, so this is how I can configure SLA setting. And similarly, you can choose response time as well. You can configure SLA based on response time as well. And I'm getting save button. Okay, and next we have is business hour. As I was saying that if you want to get the uh, reports or alert based on certain time, you can create a business hour template here. Let's say Monday to Friday. So I want to get alert only from Monday to Friday, or reports, whatever things I'm getting, I should be getting on Monday to Friday only, and I can define the time period under which I'm getting alert, or the report. So I can define here that is business hours. Okay. Okay, so that's all about report setting. We saw how to schedule a report. We saw how to customize a report like changing logo or email address. We saw how can we configure SLA or business hour. So let's move to the next topic. Okay, third-party integration. All right. So let's say in your company, you guys use Slack or you use some kind of ticketing tool in order to have a track of the records. Okay. So let's say you're using Slack and you don't want to get notification via email or voice call that Site Interaction provide, and you want to get alerted using Slack. So of course that can be done. So you can configure a Slack. Let's say you have to go to admin, right? Then again, you have to go to third-party integration. That's here below, and you can just click on add third-party integration, right? So here you see Slack, right? So you can click on Slack integrate now, and you need to give details like hook URL, and you need to give this, but you need to get notified for all the monitors or for selective monitors. You can do that, and you want to get notification in the Slack for down or critical or trouble, or for all of them you can just give yes, right? So using that you can configure Slack as well. And hook URL, this is something you'll be getting it from the Slack. We have a help doc as well that can help you, how you can generate the hook URL in the Slack. So using that you can configure a third-party integration. And just hold on with me. I think we have one more topic going on. So that's the last topic, I guess. What is that is API. So how you can use API to perform some of the transaction or actions in Site Infra X7. Okay. Uh, okay, let's try to do that. So I have actually uh, Postman tool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Site 7 API, and I'm going to fetch some details. I'm not going to click on client here. I'm going to use API to perform some of the action. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to uh, admin. Okay, I will go admin, then developer, then API, and I will go to generate OAuth. Okay, so I'll be landing into the help block of APIs. So I'll come forward. Since my account is hosted in US, I'll click here, that is United States. Since my account is hosted in US, let's say if your account is hosted in Europe, that is .eu, you need to click on Europe. Similarly for India and Australia. Okay, so since my account is in US, I have chose USA. So I'll be clicking on self client. What is scope? Okay, so let's say you have you're trying to pull a report, okay, and you're trying to use API to pull the report. So using for that, you can create a scope like site-info-7 report.all. Okay, so this particular auth token that we will be generating now will be capable of only performing action that's based on reports. Okay, let's say this scope I will copy here and I will paste it in the console. But this is one use case. Let's say you want to have an auth token that should perform all kind of action. Is that possible? Yes, that's possible. What you need to do is you need to actually copy this and just need to add a comma and just add all those scope in one client itself, operations. So this particular auth token that I'm going to create should be able to perform all action that are reported to relate reports, accounts, and operations. Okay, let's say 10 minutes. And here you would see that client secret. So these are two things, client ID and client secret. So these things are uh, will be a constant parameter. Okay, so in order to create an auth token, we'd be needing these two parameter, that is client ID, client secret, and one code that we are going to generate now. So let's say test. I'm getting a code here. So I will be using this particular code, uh, copy, okay, and I'm passing this particular here. Okay, so here you see that I'm calling this API post method, client ID, client secret, refresh token, and I will pass through this particular parameter to get this access token. Okay, so I have actually configured it in order to save time. So you have to pass this in this particular format. And okay, so I'm going to generate my access token. I'm going to use this access token, and I'll be using this access token in one API that can fetch me details that will give the list of all monitors that I have in Site-Info-7. Okay, so let's see. Sorry, that's not working. One moment. So this is my access token. Copying this. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm getting a success response. So that API is giving me the detailed list of all the monitors I have in Site-Info-7. As you can see that, the website, monitor ID, and all those details. So you can use this API to perform many actions in our client. Let's say you want to pull a report, you can use uh, different API. For example, like let's say you want to check the availability report, you can use this API, right? Zoho token, that's it. So yeah, so that's what I want to just showcase, like how we can use Site-Info-7 API to use multiple actions in Site-Info-7. I think thank you guys for being patient with me. I think we are at the end of the session. Just give me 2 minutes. I think we have covered these things. Yeah. So what are the learning from the session? Yeah, you can use profile configuration as we discussed, so that it will be help to you to have a organized way, to add monitors inside 24x7. And you can use third party for alerting, and you can use reports, right, effectively inside 24x7. And how can you schedule maintenance, and how can you share your report uh, to your manager, or how you can schedule a report. So these are the learning from the session. Thank you for joining this meeting, and thank you for your patience. We'll be actually seeing the questions that we have now. So I'm just stopping the screen. Try to answer a few of the question here, as we don't have much time. But we'll try. The question that's not being answered, we'll try to get back to you via email. From my team will basically